HOA President Karen screamed at the dirty, illegal Mexican to get off her property and called ICE to have him deported. 72 hours later, she got a phone call that made her blood run cold. What she learned would destroy her entire world in ways she never imagined possible. But first, let me tell you about the most exclusive gated community in America, and the woman who thought she ruled it all. Welcome to Still Human, where we uncover the hidden truths that shatter everything you think you know. Before we dive into this incredible story of prejudice, power, and the phone call that changed everything, tell us where you're watching from today. Because this story will make you question who really has power in your own neighborhood. Now, back to Pinnacle Heights, where nothing was what it seemed. Pinnacle Heights was the crown jewel of suburban America, 847 homes where property values started at $2.3 million and exclusivity was everything. Karen Mitchell ruled it all as HOA President, wielding her authority like a medieval queen. For 8 years, she had enforced the community's 247-page covenant with religious devotion, deciding who belonged and who didn't. Which is why Miguel Sanchez had become her obsession. For 6 months, Miguel had quietly tended lawns throughout Pinnacle Heights. He arrived each morning at 7 a.m. in a modest pickup truck, worked with flawless precision, and left without causing disturbance. His landscaping was magazine perfect, but to Karen, Miguel represented everything wrong with America. It's not about the work, Karen told her neighbor over coffee. It's about standards. We don't pay premium prices to look at those people every time we step outside. The irony was lost on Karen that Miguel's work had actually increased property values. Professional companies charged 3 times what Miguel asked, and none delivered his artistry. But Karen didn't see an artist. She saw an illegal immigrant who had infiltrated her perfect world. The complaints began in March. Commercial vehicle violations, unlicensed contractor accusations, noise complaints. Everything failed when Miguel produced proper documentation. By September, Karen's frustration had evolved into something darker. She photographed Miguel without permission, documented his suspicious behavior, and started a Facebook group called Pinnacle Heights Security Concerns. Miguel remained professionally invisible, speaking only when spoken to in polite, accented English. He understood exactly where he fit in Pinnacle Heights' social hierarchy. What Karen didn't know was that Miguel had been watching her just as carefully. October 15th changed everything. Karen spotted Miguel's truck outside the Hendersons' house, and something snapped. She parked directly behind him, trapping him in the drive. "I need to speak with you immediately." Karen's voice cut through the morning like a siren. Miguel looked up from planting autumn flowers, his hands holding a gardening trowel. He had anticipated this confrontation for months. "Yes, ma'am. I'm Karen Mitchell, president of the Pinnacle Heights HOA. I have serious concerns about your activities." Miguel stood slowly, his movement deliberate and non-threatening. "What kind of concerns?" Karen's face flushed red. "You're operating without proper permits, creating disturbances. And frankly, this is a premium community. We have standards." "I have all required permits and insurance," Miguel replied calmly. "That's not the point." Karen's voice rose. "You don't belong here. This isn't the place for people like you. Find work in neighborhoods suited to your situation." Miguel studied Karen's face with careful attention. He had heard this speech in 3 languages across 4 countries. "I'm just here to do the work I was hired for." "No, you'll leave now and never come back. I'm calling police to remove you for trespassing, then calling ICE to report suspicious activity by an undocumented worker." That's when Miguel made a decision that would change everything. "Before you make those calls, there's something you should know." Karen's eyes narrowed. "I don't need to know anything except when you'll be gone." Miguel reached into his wallet and extracted a business card. My name is Miguel Sanchez. I'm chairman and CEO of Sanchez Development Corporation. We built this community. Karen glanced at the card dismissively. You expect me to believe you, a landscaper, built Pinnacle Heights. Do you think I'm stupid? No, I think you're exactly what I expected. Something shifted in Miguel's voice, his posture, his entire presence. The respectful landscaper was gone. I bought this land in 1987. 2,400 acres of worthless desert that nobody wanted. Spent 15 years getting permits, designing infrastructure, finding investors. When the housing market collapsed in 2009, I kept every property from foreclosure by putting $47 million of my own money into the development. Karen stared, her certainty cracking. I own the land under every house. I hold mortgages on 60% of properties. I control master insurance, utility contracts, and landscaping services. I own the management company that administers the HOA. Miguel looked around the neighborhood he had created. For 6 months, I've worked as a landscaper here because I wanted to see what kind of place this had become. What kind of neighbors we had attracted. He looked directly at Karen. You've been very educational. You're lying, Karen whispered. Miguel called his office. Jennifer, send the Pinnacle Heights property files to my phone. All 847 properties, plus common areas. While they waited, Miguel continued planting flowers. Karen stood frozen, her mind racing through months of interactions. Miguel's phone buzzed. He showed Karen property records, deed information, corporate filings. Every document showed Sanchez Development Corporation owned virtually every aspect of Pinnacle Heights. The Henderson house? I hold their mortgage. Your house, at 425 Pinnacle Drive? You financed through Pinnacle Heights Community Bank, my subsidiary. You're currently 3 months behind on HOA fees. Karen's legs weakened. She leaned against her BMW. Karen's phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Mitchell, this is Jennifer Reyes from Sanchez Development. Mr. Sanchez asked me to clarify any ownership questions. Karen's blood ran cold. The voice was real, professional, absolutely authentic. I don't understand, Karen whispered. Would you like me to review your property details, mortgage information, and current HOA standing? The phone slipped from Karen's trembling fingers. Miguel picked it up, spoke briefly with Jennifer, then hung up. Karen, for 6 months you've tried to have me deported from a community I created. You've called me illegal, dirty, told me I don't belong. You've threatened ICE removal from my own property. Karen sank to her knees on the driveway. I didn't know. You didn't know because you never asked. You saw what your prejudices told you to see. Miguel finished planting and began cleaning his tools. What happens now depends on you. Continue being who you've shown me, or decide to become someone different. Are you going to evict me? I've never evicted anyone from Pinnacle Heights. I've helped families restructure mortgages, waived fees for medical bills, personally paid for repairs when residents couldn't afford them. I built this place as a home for successful families, not a fortress for hiding prejudices. Miguel climbed into his truck. Your HOA presidency comes up for renewal next month. Think carefully about what kind of leader this community needs. As Miguel drove away, Karen remained alone on the driveway of a house she now understood she didn't own, in a community controlled by the man she had tried to destroy. The story spread like wildfire. By evening, every resident knew. By morning, property records had been researched, calls made, truth confirmed. Miguel Sanchez wasn't just their developer. He was one of the state's most successful real estate entrepreneurs. 40 communities, 3,000 employees, $2 billion in managed assets. The revelation split Pinnacle Heights. Some were mortified and wanted to make amends. Others were angry Miguel had deceived them. Miguel continued landscaping as if nothing changed. But changes were happening anyway. The Hendersons invited Miguel to their daughter's graduation party as guest of honor. The Walshes commissioned an elaborate garden design. Residents left apology notes with HOA payments. The final blow came when Miguel attended his first HOA meeting in 6 years. He arrived in a perfectly tailored suit, accompanied by his attorney and community relations director. Karen sat at the conference table looking like someone facing execution. "Good evening. I apologize for not attending more regularly. I've been busy with other projects, assuming the community was in good hands." The packed room was silent. "I'm here because residents have expressed concerns about HOA leadership. As someone with significant investment here, it's time to become more actively involved." Miguel's attorney distributed information packets. "We're proposing changes to better serve the community. A $500,000 emergency fund for residents facing hardship. 15% HOA fee reduction for 2 years. New policies ensuring community leadership reflects the diversity and values we want to promote." He looked at Karen. "Effective immediately, any HOA officer engaging in discriminatory behavior will be subject to immediate removal." When the meeting ended, Karen Mitchell had been voted out, 847-1. Her own vote was the only support. Miguel was unanimously elected new HOA president. 6 months later, Pinnacle Heights had transformed. Still exclusive, beautiful, expensive, but now welcoming, diverse, and led by someone who understood true leadership meant service, not dominance. Miguel continued landscaping openly as the community owner, maintaining his investment personally. Children waved from school buses. Residents stopped to chat and thank him. Karen had moved away quietly, selling to a young Hispanic family, a surgeon father and elementary teacher mother. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. On the anniversary of their confrontation, Miguel worked in the same flower bed where Karen tried to have him deported. The community was hosting a barbecue, children playing, neighbors laughing. A young girl from Karen's former house ran to Miguel. "Mr. Miguel, my mom wants to know if you can help plant roses in our front yard." Miguel smiled, wiping dirt from his hands. "Tell your mom I'd be happy to help. But first, let me finish making these flowers beautiful for everyone to enjoy." As the girl ran back to the party, Miguel looked around the community he had built, saved, and now led. It wasn't perfect, but it was home to families learning that belonging wasn't about appearance or origin. It was about contribution, treatment of others, and wisdom to see beyond prejudices. The dirty, illegal Mexican had indeed gotten off Karen's property. He had gotten off all their properties, realizing ownership meant nothing without using it to create something better. Karen Mitchell had been right about one thing. Miguel Sanchez didn't belong in Pinnacle Heights as she imagined it. He belonged as the leader of something far better than she ever could have built. This story reminds us that power doesn't always look like power. Sometimes it looks like hard work and humility. 3. Assumptions can destroy everything. What we think we see may be completely wrong. Leadership means service. True authority comes from helping others succeed. Communities are built by character, not by exclusion, but by inclusion. Justice sometimes has patience, but it always arrives eventually. This story changed your perspective. Here's how you can help. Share your experience. Have you ever misjudged someone's position or power? Tell us about it in the comments. Connect globally. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location and join our still human family that values substance over appearance. Spread awareness. If this story opened your eyes about hidden power and prejudice, like and share it with someone who needs this lesson. Join our mission. Subscribe to Still Human for more incredible stories of people who prove that leadership looks different than we expect. Build better communities. Whether you're in an HOA, workplace, or neighborhood, remember that real power comes from lifting others up, not putting them down. More hidden leader stories. Check out our Power in Disguise playlist for similar stories of people who lead from unexpected positions. Remember, the person you're looking down on might be the person who has the power to lift you up or let you fall. The choice you make in how you treat them might be the most important decision you never realized you were making. What will you choose the next time you encounter someone you assume has less power than you? Thank you for being part of the Still Human family. Every view, like, and share helps us spread stories that remind us to look beyond surface appearances and recognize the leaders hiding in plain sight.